So here we are back after missing a game which was a draw. Very exciting. Queen's Gambit declined. We have Yaacovn Norwich with white again, and we have a Grunfeld. I was expecting to see the Grunfeld here, since Boris Avruch is known to be a very big specialist on this defense. He has a couple of very interesting books, a couple of volumes on the Grunfeld. In fact, now he takes on d4. Okay, he has this e5 move. As I was saying, I think it is almost the only those are the only books on openings that most GMs respect. The Grunfeld series by Boris Avruch, who is black here, GM Contora from Israel. He's Boris Avruch, so you could expect him to play the Grunfeld for sure. And now we have exchanged the queens. Black has spoiled his pawn structure, but he has won a pawn, the central d4 pawn. Now knight d5, kind of forcing white to take. No, he doesn't. Well, that was pinned, of course. Knight couldn't take so far now, but now bishop e6. And I don't know. I think white may have some compensation to not to be much worse here, but I think it is black is better here now. Something like even king f7, I guess. It is only his bad pawn structure that stops black from being really much better here. So bishop f8, trying to exchange this bishop for the active white bishop here, and there it goes. King takes, I guess. Yes, and well, now the knight goes to e4, attacks f6, king e7 protects it, knight c5. Okay, white has some activity to compensate him being pawned down, but now rook b8, rook on an open file, b3. The bishop is okay, the knight is okay. What could be done? Maybe f5, f4, knight b4, attacking a2, offering a rook exchange, and well, c6 is protected now with the knight, but it's definitely something to take into account because it's a weakness for black. Rooks are exchanged on d8. Now white is thinking. They both have 4 minutes. a3, knight a2, attacks the rook, and there is a problem of back rank if the rook goes up, so rook must go to a1 now. Rook knight c3 must be the move, yes. And now it's attacking e2. b3 is also a little weakness here, although it's protected by the knight. And I don't know, I'm liking this for black. Maybe holdable, but of course black is better. So far Boris Avruch showing who's the GM in this death match. I mean, he hasn't lost any game so far. Has made a couple of draws and won the first game convincingly. Now bishop d5, b4. Yaacov tries to be solid. Bishops are exchanged. And now the knight has, as in the first game, he has a couple of very nice squares to go back if needed. b5, d5, controlling lots of central squares. The rook goes to second rank. And, well, this is a matter of technique, I guess, but black should be doing very well here. Well, in fact, I just missed knight d1. It's attacking f2, and how is... Oh, well, okay, knight d4, but now rook cannot move that far because the knight would be hanging, but this is interesting. Okay, knight takes. That was... Okay, that the pawn is pinned, of course. This is winning pawn right now. But what about king f3? Because now the rook isn't there. Okay, the rook... Great tactics. The rook is black is offering a rook exchange. If white takes here, the rook will be taken. So getting out of that with another pawn. Now the knight moves out of the attack, and black won another pawn. Excellent tactics there by the GM Avruch. And well, knight d5, knight back to c5. Now f5, rolling these pawns, and this should be already winning for black, I guess. I can't see any seriously active plan for white. Knight goes to b7, check, king back to g2, and e3, f2 is attacked, pinned. Knight must go here to protect it, but now maybe knight c3, 5 or similar, and this is almost done, isn't it? Well, maybe knight c3, knight c5, but the king could be activated here, and I don't know, this should be winning, I think. I would most probably lose this as black 100 times, but yes, knight c3, or no, knight c5 most probably to try to stop knight e4, but even so, black could play it, put a pawn there. No, white tries to avoid it, going up with the king and getting out of the pin, but now pawn is on the second rank, protected by both the rook and the knight. And now rook d1 is the threat, and I guess this is game over. Yes, it is. White resigned. So great advantage so far for the GM Contora here. 3-1, and now he's white against Yaacovn Norwich. By the way, this is changing, flipping the board all the time because I clicked follow to follow EM Yaacovn Norwich at the very beginning, so we'll be seeing this from the from Yaakov's side always, but I guess that doesn't matter that far so much. And once again, we have the Queen's Indian as in the first game. This is very theoretical gambit, I think very dangerous position. Well, black, it seems that I didn't accept it, but I think that I don't know that much about it, but I just have seen it a couple of times. A very dangerous gambit for black with this early d5 offering a pawn there, and both players playing really fast. Yaacovn Norwich has used only 4 seconds so far for 10 moves. Of course, there is an increment here, but still this is good pace. Isolated queen pawns for both, with the big difference that this pawn is already on the 5th, so cramping black's position a lot, and this is looking good for white already. Quite a weakness here on d6, not much room for black to maneuver his pieces. This bishop is well attacking the pawn here, okay, but this bishop is okay once again as his other colleague on very defensive duties. So h6 and bishop b5 pinning. This looks uncomfortable to say the least for black. Maybe it is theory or something, I don't know, but I don't think so. This looks really I mean, this is free advantage for white. White is playing here for fun, just attacking squares and cramping black's pieces. Not a good position for white, definitely. No, okay. For black, sorry. White temporarily gives up a pawn here, but now knight f5 is attacking. Now d5 is under attack. e7 was under attack. Bishop e6 defending from both threats. Was that possible? Is black going to go away with the pawn? I don't think so. There must be something here. Well, white can at least take on d6, I think. He has 3 pieces attacking it and only the bishop is guarding. But for sure, white was looking for the best way to do it. Okay, knight took, forcing bishop to take because it was a fork for both rooks. Now queen takes, and white has the bishop pair, more active pieces, and probably some edge here. Yaacovn Norwich with almost 4 minutes. 4 is Yaacovn, 3 minutes 41. Well, there should be good chances here for white to win this game. Now knight c5, rook c5, sorry, attacking the bishop and trying to activate a little. What to play now? Exchanging everything doesn't seem the best, because that would lead to probably drawish endgame if opposite colored bishops are kept. Bishop c6. Okay. And now what? Queen c8. Now bishop is attacked once again. Bishop f3. Probably. No, rook c1. Okay. Defending c6 as well. And of course, if black takes, rook takes, that would be a pin with some discard attacks, threats for white. Now rook to d8. This is getting messy. Is black threatening to remove this knight, attacking the queen with some dangerous effects? Maybe. Lots of calculation would be needed here, at least for a patzer like me, because I'm just wondering if I'm missing any really simple tactics. I don't know. Maybe bishop f3. Well, he goes with bishop to a4, and now what? Black has plenty time to think about it. 3 minutes. Now he exchanged rooks on c1. Rook takes c1 most probably. So it's protected with the bishop. And knight c5. Okay, now discard attack on the queen. Queen e7. White still has the bishop pair. Good looking rook here on the open file against this queen. Okay, this rook is now must be kept protected with the queen, so queen a6, something like that is not of course possible. And b4 is the threat, I guess, because this knight is pinned against the queen. Okay, rook f8, so that he could use this queen. Now bishop d6 attacks. Bishop back to d6. I wonder if why b4 is not possible. Well, not now because it's not protected, but the move before. I'm sure I was missing a simple thing there, but before was something to think about. Now h3, just to prevent any problems on the back rank. And black keeps being in problems, I think, because both white bishops are really controlling everything here on the center of the board. There is this nasty pin. White queen is very active, and it's a difficult position. I guess b4 is once again a threat. I don't know. Bishop d7 attacks bishop. Simplifications would help black to untangle, I guess. Bishop takes, queen takes, that would be relief for black. But now white takes on c5. And maybe winning a bishop takes and bishop back, defending the rook, attacking the rook, the queen. Some exchanges here. Well, this is bishop opposite colored bishop here. I wonder if white let his edge escape. Because now queen, okay, queen back to e4, but bishop b3, bishop is going to go back to e6, very solid. Okay, well, black may have some issues attacking on the queen side, on the king side, on the dark squares. But I don't see this being very dangerous for black anymore. Somehow, I guess Yaacov survived. Now queen e7 attacks a7 on the 7th rank, the queen looking good. But, well, there should be a way to defend it. Queen a8, well, it seems uh, strange, but still a move. He could play bishop d5, h4, well, bishop d5 as I predicted, and f3 to defend. And, well, bishop e6, I guess black could try b5, a6 to put his pawns in light squares and be more or less safe. Although there may be some threats, because whenever in these opposite and colored endgames, bishop endgames, whenever one player has the initiative, he usually has some kind of threat, because the other player cannot defend dark squares. In this case, g7 cannot be defended with the bishop, so now f6 is the only move, I guess, to defend g7 with the queen. Now queen d6, and I don't know. This should be drawish, and now everything is kind of protected. Uh, I don't know, king h2, but yes, this was agreed to a draw. Thanks for watching.